Hello, this should look really familiar if you read even just the first one. This is an assignment that you did a couple weeks back. It's on analogies. I love analogies. They are a great way to increase vocabulary, and anytime you increase your vocabulary and strengthen that, you strengthen your reading comprehension. So even if they're challenging, look at it as an opportunity to think through things, get your critical thinking going, and sometimes even learn words that maybe you're not familiar with. I encourage you to look them up if you didn't see that in the directions. If there's any word you don't know, look it up. So I'm going to go through these real quickly because you're going to have an assignment on the same thing today, but I really wanted to talk through why. If you went back and looked at your answers after I graded it, you might not understand why you missed something that you did. So I'm going to go through these fairly quickly, but I'm going to establish the relationship, which is key. If you don't establish the relationship between the first two, you're not going to have any success in the second two unless it's just blind luck. So for the first one, I look at it and I see sheep is to lamb is bear is to blank. So the relationship of a sheep and a lamb. Well, I know that a lamb is a baby sheep. So I know that a lamb is a baby sheep. So I'm looking for what do we call a baby bear? This is going to be the baby over here, just like it is over here. And I know that a baby bear is called a cub. And if I didn't, I could have Googled it and looked it up. So I would then highlight that, and I'm going to pick yellow as my color to highlight that. Look at the second one. Fish is to scales as bird is to blank. Now, most of you got this right because the other choices weren't very challenging, but let's look at the relationship. A fish is covered on the outside with scales. So I have to think, a bird is covered on the outside with what? And I'm going to say, of course, that's feathers. So I would answer that with feathers. I'm going to highlight it and mark it. Kid is to goat as fawn is to blank. Well, if you don't know and you looked it up, a kid is a baby goat. So I know that a fawn is a baby what? And if I looked it up, a fawn is what you call a baby deer. So I would mark deer. Just pay attention to the relationships. Lead is to follow as advance is to blank. Well, lead is when you take charge and follow is when you are the opposite. So these are opposites, antonyms. Advance means to go forward. Well, the opposite of going forward is not adjust, it's not go, and I know it's not guide. So it must be retreat. And that is, in fact, the opposite of going forward. And that's a term that's used in military. To advance is the troops to move forward, retreat is for them to move back. So, but notice how I used process of elimination on that. I decided that, okay, I know the opposite of advance isn't adjust or go or guide, and that led me to retreat. Of course, I also could have looked it up. Golf is obviously a sport, is to course as bowl is to blank. Well, golf is played on a course. So a bowl, like to bowl, where do you bowl? Well, you bowl in a alley. So I would highlight alley and mark that. I just choose yellow. Run is to race as play is to blank. Well, you run. What do you run? You run a race, and then you play a game. You play a game. They throw the other ones in there to kind of confuse you. Like a play, an actor is a part of a play, but that's not the same thing. Up at the top, clock is to time as thermometer is to blank. Well, clock is an object that measures or tells time. So a thermometer is an object that measures or tells the temperature. Diamond is to gem as atlas is to blank. Well, a diamond is actually a gem. A gem is just any precious stone. So that could have been a sapphire or a ruby or an emerald, but a diamond is just an example of a gem. Well, an atlas really is a book. Now, I accepted maps as well because I thought that was really kind of confusing. What an atlas really is a book of maps. But in all honesty, an atlas is actually a book, just like a diamond is a gem. Indigo is a shade of blue. Crimson is a shade, of red. And if you looked it up, most of you probably knew that crimson was a form of red. Calm is to stormy. They are opposites. Calm means it's all good and peaceful. Stormy is the opposite of that. So tranquil, if that's one that you didn't know, means quiet and nice and peaceful. Okay, I want the opposite. So some people picked peaceful. That's what that means. I need the opposite. I know that the opposite of peaceful is not cool. I know it's not peaceful, and I know it's not quiet. So I'm going to go with turbulent by process of elimination. And if I looked up turbulent, in fact, it would tell me the opposite of tranquil. Things are turbulent means they're bad. They're kind of wild. But I figured it out just by ruling out the other three, which is a great way to do multiple choice. A pilot is a person who steers an airplane. A driver is a person who steers or maneuvers a car. And then finally, mask is something that you put over your face. A costume is something that you put over your body. So remember that relationship is crucial, vital. There you go, some big fancy words, which just means really, really important to figure out the relationship with the second two.